a communion with the gods. Spartans! What is your profession? I don't want to wake the sleeping people. What's poppin', people? It's Dante. Listen to the sounds of the birds this morning. Check out the beautiful lights under the bridge. Actually, I was wondering how bridges are made. How the hell do people make bridges? You know, I remember when I was a little kid, just down this river in the Wissahickon, building bridges with stones. You know, you would just put the stones in the creek and then cross, you know, just stone after stone. Or even sometimes we would use sticks to make bridges. And when I was a little boy, my brother and I, when the hose would be running down the road, down the driveway, and there was water, we would get our popsicle sticks and make boats and send them down the way. And yeah, needless to say, I'm looking for that popsicle stick. I want to find that popsicle stick and move down this stream. Yeah, life isn't what it seems. I think when you go out there and you see these mundane things as a dream and you use your imagination, life becomes this endless, abundant, blissful experience, you know, where you champion the sensations, the feeling of leaves, the feeling and textures of the earth, you know, the grass between your toes, you know, the agility required to move is something I oftentimes think about. But maybe with all of this creativity, imagination, we kind of lack more. I think we maybe lack it in modern society in general. You know, we kind of just shoot up these big glass buildings. We put treadmills inside. I see somebody running on a treadmill. Imagine waking up first thing, it's like 5 a.m. right now. 5 a.m. in the morning. Let me run on the treadmill. You know, just running in place. You're not going anywhere. I think, you know, there's something about the outdoors, walking outdoors, that fuels me. It's like I have this insatiable lust for life in the morning. I enter this frenzy every morning, just wanting to experience chaos. And I think there's something about this river and the way in which it continuously extends so far. Like, you could keep walking down this river for like 100 miles, it seems. You know, like, it's a very long river, a very big and long trail, and that feeling of abundance comes through me when I recognize that. You know, I think about that. I'm like, I could just keep walking straight right now and just keep going, you know. And it's just exciting. But alas, the hamster wheel is real. You know, we love hamster wheels. That treadmill has me thinking about this notion now. I mean, for me, running generally is just a silly act. You're kind of just rattling your bones. That's what I think. You know, you're just rattling your bones around, especially if you're just jogging on a treadmill like that person was back there. It doesn't seem to have much of a benefit if you're just going to be running in place or jogging around. The only running that seems to be worthwhile is like sprinting, I've heard. You know, it's not something I personally do, but sprinting or like uphill running and stuff like that. Maybe if you wear like a weighted vest. Oh, look at the moon. But anything that's just moderately paced, it seems kind of foolish to me. But I guess everyone has their thing. Yeah, like there's like a, you know, think of the treadmill, right? Think of the hamster wheel. You know, you go out, you run, you come home, you think you burn calories, you eat, and then you repeat, and then you don't see progress. Like, I think when people use running as a form of like weight loss, or like when people use running as a form of yeah, weight loss and that, like the notion of and like you consider the notion of calories, that's where we go wrong. You know, like weight and calories aren't the concern or shouldn't be of our concern, but the notion of fat should. You know, we want to lose fat. The more that I think about energy, the more that I contemplate fat and the stored fat in our body as energy, you know, where you could technically go a long time without food, but I think now we're all in the hamster wheel of, oh, let me wake up in the morning and go for a run and then eat my breakfast and then have my snack and then eat my lunch and then have a dinner and then get a dessert and then go to sleep. It's like we're just constantly eating and constantly seeking results without seeing them, and that becomes insanity. You know, I actually, along my fitness journey, ate whatever I felt like for the longest time, but for around 2 years now, by eliminating all of the bad stuff and only eating the good stuff, I see results. You know, so perhaps the foods that we consume are the problem and the things that we do become stupid. Like today we're headed towards my favorite location in the city, the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Just in back of this location, there is this gazebo, this pavilion, these trails, these paths, and a cliff where I can see the horizon. And when I stand upon this cliff, I'm fueled with this abundant feeling. And I believe when I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to get outside because I have this insatiable lust for life itself, you know, where I'm craving more each and every day. Setting my body in motion becomes the motivation, where it's within our legs as human beings are bipedal to stand upright and walk for a reason, right? It's not this coincidence that we have evolved to have legs to move. And the problem with modern life is our sedentary nature, where we sit down for the majority of the day. This becomes very bad. We become very weak. You see it all over cities, simply within the way in which we work and live our everyday lives, right? You're mostly indoors in an office. You know, we box ourselves into an office, we box ourselves into a cubicle, we're staring at a box, we're staring at a computer. Yeah, I think it's time to get out of the box. It's time to remove ourselves from these situations. You know, if you're being told to do X, Y, or Z, to sit down, to obey, to listen, you know, I don't know. I think this is where I didn't, you know, when I came home from the Peace Corps, I thought, you know, maybe the military would be interesting. But then the more I contemplate my human nature and how I love to live my everyday life, I don't think I could ever, yes, Commander, I'll do whatever you want, Commander. You know, just like, I just don't think that's a possibility for me. I think I learned this very early on when I was in high school, just learning useless information. You know, maybe some of the books they had us read were good, like The Giver, 1984, A Brave New World. I remember we read, they assigned us some good books. But then I remember in class, you know, you would just, you know, a lot of the stuff is open book. You just memorize information. Like, you basically have, you know, everything that ChatGPT can do now, we would do. You know, we would just have the book next to us and we would have to look through the book and then write it down. You know, but now you can just chat to AI and just speed up the process of you learning things. It's kind of amusing. But the nature of sitting down, regurgitating information, obeying, you know, this school I went to, you know, you were forced to be inside. You couldn't go outside for lunch. You couldn't go outside for recess or whatever. There wasn't any of that. You know, there was an x-ray machine, there was a metal detector, you know, they had you, you know, sort of like in this prison. Security guards at the door, you know, they would have all the doors locked. I mean, I recognized really early on that there's something up, you know. Listen to the bell ring. You know, you go from bell to bell. We become so accustomed to the alarms, you know, controlling our lives, whether it's the phone, the alarm in the morning, email. It's kind of alarming. You know, we become very robotic. You know, we become slaves. We become prisoners within this comfortable place, you know, where the technology can either enhance our life or control our life. You know, if you're reaching for the phone, you know, involuntarily, not really thinking about it, you know, you just get the alarm and you're like, oh, you're like getting flustered and you pick it right up. Yeah, maybe that's what it's like to be a slave. Check out this. I don't know if this is a bunny. There's only 2 legs, like a baby bunny. The head was decapitated. So yeah, this reminds me that all is war. This is crazy. You go macro mode. Yeah, all is war. You know, nature is violent. I'll never forget one day walking through Rittenhouse in the park, seeing this hawk swoop down and eat a baby bird in mid-flight. That was pretty crazy. All I saw from the scene were a few feathers falling to the ground. You know, I remember being in Israel and Palestine along the border of Jericho every day at 5:30. The army points their rifles towards the border. If there's any children playing, if there's anybody lurking around the border, you better get away. You know, there's something about dominance, control, and hierarchies that are natural within society. And yeah, that definitely was a bunny. That was a baby bunny. I just saw their mother. But however, when you have no fear, yeah, maybe nothing can stop you, right? What if you fear not of death or the outcome? You know, that's the sort of funny part, right? It's like, okay, all is war. Okay, I might die. I might get severely ill. But what if you learn to affirm that? You know, what if you learn to overcome that fear of death itself? Then what? Well, then maybe you are immortal. You know, maybe to go back to the Garden of Eden, pick up the flaming swords, burn it down, and reach the tree of life would be a better option. You know, why didn't we pick the tree of life? Why didn't we pick immortality? You know? But we wanted to grab that fruit, that sweet, sweet nectar, and recognize morality instead. But maybe to go beyond morality, to go beyond ethics, to go beyond the basic notions of what is good and what is bad, and, you know, how we should or should not live our lives becomes of our concern, our individual concern. You know, don't allow people to dictate or tell you how or why you should be living your life. But pick up the flaming swords and burn down and carve your own path. You know, there's sticks out here. My sword. I believe the river where Achilles was dipped, which gave him immortality despite his heel, was named Styx. This river descending into Hades. You know, this river of immortality, this river of life. Styx. To be outside, to be under the sun, to be out here, not confined to a box, not sitting down. You know, this is the new privilege. The privilege of being outdoors. What a fun way to look at life, where the goal as an artist, especially as a photographer, should be to be maximally outside, to be maximally out in the open world. For this is where we can explore and create. But perhaps we live in a time of consumption. You know, we have all the yummy food options, all the TV channels, we have everything at our fingertips. We have so much entertainment, there's so much to do when it comes to consumption, where you can just sit back with a pacifier in your mouth, endlessly being fed pleasure. But perhaps the pursuit of pleasure is such a base goal that perhaps we all strive for. We all are looking for that comfortable, cushy job, you know, where you can sort of just show up and do your little task and be in the AC and it's cool and you put on your little uniform and, you know, maybe it's inevitable and natural for some people to be slaves. You know, maybe that's something that's within human nature, you know, where people find it difficult to govern themselves. You know, maybe we need somebody to tell us what to do. You know, maybe we need commander, you know, we need the officer, you know, to get us from point A to point B, to set our body in motion, you know. But to gain self-autonomy and to move your body without having a carrot dangling in front of you should be the goal. You know, movement is medicine. Movement for the sake of movement, where this is simply where humans thrive. We should be upright and moving. You know, we should not be sitting down. And this is my thought. This is where I believe freedom is. It's in the movement of your legs. If you are currently moving your body throughout the day, if you are currently standing upright outside, consider yourself blessed. Consider yourself a free man. Consider the outdoors and this world as a dream. You know, when you're out here observing the mundane and the dinosaurs fly by and there's these beautiful birds dancing and making songs, you know, I'm having a communion with the gods. You know, I'm out here exploring the intricate details of life. I'm out here between the cracks, picking the weeds, you know, and finding the beauty that's underneath. You know, I find that the world, it becomes a dream and not what it seems when you start to observe the cracks in between, you know, where this rock is unmovable. You know, you would need a lot of force to knock this rock downwards. You know, this morning when I was walking, I saw this bird, or this bunny rather, sorry, a bunny with its head chopped off just down this way. And it reminded me that all is war. You know, there's something about human nature and our tendency towards war and violence and conflict that's natural. It's not going away. You know, we can never not have war, right? There's always going to be war. I remember one day walking through the park and seeing a hawk swoop down and kill a baby bird in mid-flight, and all I saw were feathers falling from the sky. You know, similar to this morning. I mean, I saw that bunny back there, head cut off, fresh. You know, something came by and ate that bunny right away. And, you know, maybe the dominant nature of, see, there's the photo actually I just made. But yeah, maybe the dominant nature of the human being, where we become the apex predator in the animal kingdom, is something worth reminding ourselves of. And, you know, we should use technology as our slaves, right? We should not become slaves to technology. We should wield the technology for good. However, in war, it seems that we use technology for evil acts. We use drones to spy. We use drones as bombs, where an 18-year-old kid can be sitting in a bunker, in a citadel, in a fortress, with an Xbox controller, playing Call of Duty and actually kill somebody. You know, it reminds me of my time in 9th grade when we read the book Ender's Game. And within Ender's Game, these boys are on a spaceship and they're fighting a war that is a simulated battle. However, the simulation was real and they wound up winning the war. They actually wound up defeating the enemy. And there's some questions of ethics to have here when it comes to technology and warfare that we're going to start seeing introduced in modern society as we become less connected, we become less physical, more digital and technological. But when I see this museum here, when I'm outside of this Philadelphia Museum of Art looking out towards the beautiful city, you know, this birthplace of America, it reminds me that this world is just open. I mean, there's just so much to do. But we confine ourselves to boxes. You know, we sit down. We don't move. We spend the majority of the day slaves to technology. Consider the way the cars move in a city. The cars obeying the law, you know, following the red, the white, or the red, the yellow, the green, you know, the traffic signal, the walking man. You know, we become accustomed to obeying technology. We become so used to it. Think of China. I think actually in China, if you cross the street, you get a fine, or your credit score lowers or something, right? You can't even walk across the street without being monitored. You know, that's no society that I want to live in. But order is what maybe we really, really want. We want order, but I say thrive in the chaos, in the unknown, and embrace ecstasy, embrace frenzy, embrace the Dionysian, embrace the unknown, you know, and thrive in it, you know, where I affirm life through the pain, through the suffering, through the pleasure, through the comfort, through the unknown. You know, there's something about going out here each day and finding meaning in the steps I make. You know, it's not just me, you know, going for a walk, but it's me having this dialogue with the world, you know, treating it as a canvas, positioning my body on the front lines of life and finding new ways to see the world. You know, I'm trying to, oh, I can put the moon in between the antlers here, maybe. That's kind of interesting. I can look at the same thing in a new way every single day. And that's, to me, the power of photography, where I thrive in the mundane. You know, for the mundane becomes novel. The mundane becomes something interesting and worth uplifting. You know, perhaps the ultimate goal of art. I mean, look at this sculpture of the, you know, founding father on a horseback. We have Washington, we have Buffalo, we have the native people, we have this beautiful, looking like a Greek goddess holding that, you know, who is that? You know, we have the eagle, the symbol of freedom, the symbol of Zeus. You know, this is such a beautiful work of art. Who is that woman? Just ChatGPT it. You know, wield the omnipotent power of knowledge at your fingertips for good. Who is this? And, you know, think of the story of Aladdin, right? He goes into the Cave of Wonders. There's all of this treasure, jewelry, gold, silver. You know, he could have chose to take the wealth, to take the physical material thing. However, Aladdin chose the genie in the bottle, wisdom. He chose knowledge and wisdom over this useless material treasure. If he were to pull the treasure, he would be stuck in the cave forever. The statue in the image is part of the Alexander Milne Calder sculpture group. Oh, so that's the same sculpture group that made the William Penn sculpture. I believe that's who made the William Penn sculpture on top of City Hall. Oh yeah, it literally just says that, based on the top of City Hall. This particular statue represents one of the allegorical figures Calder created to symbolize. Figure likely represents commerce, one of the four corners at the base of the tower. The woman, question mark? It's an allegorical representation of commerce. Who is Calder? The triumph, the trident. Oh, Calder. Yeah, the sculptor Calder. Tell me more about the representation of commerce. The trident is associated with the sea and maritime trade, the importance of shipping and naval commerce. It also signifies Neptune, or Poseidon, the god of the sea. The cornucopia, often allegorical commerce. The cornucopia, symbol of plenty, merchandise, attire and pose, dignity and importance. Yeah, you know, I remember actually in Rome, since I was a young boy, visiting the Trevi Fountain. You know, there's the cornucopia, there's Oceanus, you know, the god of the water, the ocean, and abundance. And, you know, we have all this water flowing still to this day in Rome from the aqueducts that were constructed thousands of years ago. And, you know, I can cross this road right now without getting in trouble, right? I can look, I can see, I can use myself and my autonomy and my judgment. You know, I can jaywalk here in the land of the free. Who's gonna stop me? What's this? Benjamin Franklin Parkway improvements. Yeah, I think, you know, water is such a simple thing that we take for granted. Oh man, I remember when I was in Africa and Zambia, you know, drawing my water from a well, boiling it, filtering it through a gravity filter, adding iodine. We have the Holy Bible. Let me photograph the Holy Bible. Yeah, I think, you know, we really have such abundance in this modern world in the West, but we squander, I think. We squander what we can do and what we can accomplish. I think we... You know, we stick to the hamster life, the wheel. Just getting the day started under the sun in the great outdoors. You know, this is where I believe humans thrive. However, if I'm inside for any period of time, I can find my soul slowly die. You know, I think that is a natural thing too. I think that our bodies decay when we are stationary. I think if I remind myself of the sculpture of Saint Jerome, or the painting rather by Caravaggio, where he's hunched over inside, you know, decrepit, decaying body with the skull in front of him, waiting for the afterlife. You know, this denial of the body, this denial of life. You know, when you're inside, you know, you're in a box, right? You're in a box. You know, most of the time we're inside now in this modern world, we're looking at a box, you know, whether it's the computer, the TV, etc., the phone, whatever it may be. You know, we've created this technology, you know, we've created all of these abundant, amazing things, but we deny the physical body and become enslaved to the things that we create. This is a beautiful sculpture here. You know, I find that sculpture, it uplifts the human spirit to this new height. You know, you look in front of this sculpture of this woman here, and it inspires you, right? The Maja, German artist. In 1937, the Nazis declared Marcus's work degenerate art, barring him from exhibiting and destroying many of his sculptures. I guess they assumed that it was degenerate because fascism. You know, it's a naked woman, put that away, you know. But I say Blitzkrieg, you know, let's go. This is beautiful. You know, if I was a woman looking at that, I'd be thinking in my head, I want curves like that. You know, I want to have a form and a physique like that. You know, that's a beautiful woman. You know, why can't we strive for these things in society as a good thing or a virtuous thing?